Greetings! It is I, Titus Naravan Dracovin, Lord Emperor of the Dracovin Empire, and welcome. It is time to continue my discussion on Shadowrun, the 4th edition of it. Well, when we last left off, we were talking about drugs. We're going to finish up talking about them today and move on to talking about better than life, and then security systems. Let's go over that last bit of information about drugs in the 2070s. Alright, so just like drugs nowadays, any metahuman can effectively overdose it. You can have so much of it that it causes you physical problems. Problems more than just imbuing some of this drug would be. Now, this is going to depend on the type of drug, the type of metahuman you are, and basically your physical standing anyway. Someone, a tougher human, might be better than a weaker troll. Might be. It can happen. So regardless, though, when you reach that overdose level, which should be sort of reflected upon by your game master. Your game master is going to determine when you're hitting too much. You're going to start taking more boxes of damage, physical damage, based upon these overdose levels. So, yep, it can cause some serious damage to you and have other side effects that might result from this along the way. Now, let's talk a little bit about these drugs, because this ranges from synthahol, basically your synthetic alcohol, to performance enhancers, to street drugs. And regardless of your drug of choice, each of them will affect your character. Drugs tend to cause psychological changes in your character and have their own physical effects, many of which are based upon the drug itself. There's a list of drugs giving their duration, effect, and description in the book, and this will give all the information you have to know about using these, and some of the levels of abusing them. So if your characters do dive into drug use, you will have an idea of what it means to dive into this. Now, let's move on and start talking about BTLs, Better Than Life chips. This is the electronic user's drug of choice. These are incredibly addictive, as these are specifically made to stimulate the pleasure centers of the brain in order to give you a very pleasurable effect as to using these. And because they don't have any kind of safeguards or limits in place, they go far beyond any other sort of SimSense. So this is going to be a SimSense signal being basically beamed into the pleasure center of your brain. And without limit. So you will just have insane amounts of pleasure and wonder that will make you want to come back for more. These are so addictive, those that will have the opportunity will like to loop them over and over again in their brain so that they can continually experience this over and over. The fact is, those that die as a result of abusing BTLs do so more often than not through accidents that occur while they're under the influence. Or there is the possibility of them dying from malnutrition, dehydration, or suicide. Those are really the only ways that you could die as a result of it, but they are a pretty deadly set of things that could occur. In the old days, people had to specifically get large chips that they would have to plug into specialized SimSense modules in order to enjoy the effects of a BTL. Nowadays, because of the wireless world in the market, you can in fact download a BTL experience perfectly fine and everything. You don't need the hard chip copy from it anymore. Highly secured and defended sites out there that you can visit or download some of these things to possibly get them yourselves. But you have to remember, these are very lucrative groups. So they do this to attract people. They promise their own unique experiences when it comes to the BTL experience you're going to have. Theirs is better than the next person's kind of thing. Theirs is more is made more towards what you desire. Now, BTLs are given by a number of street lanes, especially those that are chips, because chips still tend to be popular. They do exist out there still. There are two versions of these. There are specific chips, and regardless, we'll say this, that these chips are usually made to be used once, and then you can't use them again. This brings you back to the dealer for more. There are many dealers that enjoy this sort of physical contact with their clients, and hence that's why they still prefer chips. So one type of chip, specifically you need a specialized SimSense module in order to use it. These are called Dream Tech, and this is a bit less common of all of them because that specialized module is getting rarer and rarer. The other type of chips have all the necessary electronics built into the chip itself. This one, you just need a new old chip jack or an old data jack that you can effectively use to hook yourself in. This one is a little easier, but it still is a less likely to be able to find because, again, we are talking about older technology which has kind of gone by the wayside. The other option then, of course, is to download a program from the wireless world, from the Matrix itself. The fact is, most of these programs are made to be played once, and then they effectively self-destruct. Similar to the, you could only use a chip once before you have to get a new one, it's made that you come back and pay more for more experiences. It's made to be this way so that you become an addict and continually going to your dealer. Now, there are a number of types of basically better-than-life chips that are listed in the book that give some information about each of these types. I'll let you go over them to get an idea of what these chips do and the differences between them, because similar to your drug of choice, your BTL of choice will have an effect on your character and the way that they react to these chips. Alright, let's move on and start talking about security systems. The fact is, in the 2070s, security is everywhere. It is a nearly omnipresent fact you will have to deal with. Corporations have all kinds of securities, buildings do, even individuals will have security systems within their own housing nowadays. The fact is, it's something your characters were going to have to deal with. This is physical, technological, wireless, or even magical security that all exist. And it will be up to your game master over the course of the adventures they are running to determine what security is appropriate for where you're going. It might be a place that only physical security is appropriate. Others might have multiple layers of security depending on the situation you're in. And the game master should make sure to taper this security that makes it challenging and fun for your players to overcome. Because security tends to be one of the main things your characters will deal with over the course of the adventures. It's the main thing they're going to usually overcome as part of all these runs they're going on. The person aspect does exist there. The fighting with someone, getting in a gun, magic fight, this sort of thing. But security is our main hazard. So, that's it for today. First, I finished by talking about a few more basics of drugs, including overdoses, and then just the basic of the information you're going to be referencing in the book when you're looking up various drugs to possibly have your characters get addicted to, possibly have in your game world, whatever. Remember, for drugs, it's up to your game master if that drug is actually a problem in your world or not, and if it should be something that you're going to be addressing. Up to them completely. Then I moved on to talking about better than lives. These specialized electronic chips or electronic programs that you use to experience basically a better-than-life experience. It's a SimSense, without any limits, beamed directly into the pleasure center of your brain to make you just be filled with joy. So much joy that you just want to keep experiencing this joy and nothing else. So addictive because of this very nature. And the fact is, people do die under the influence from accidents or not taking care of themselves, or they just feel like the real world is such a downer that maybe is killing themselves so they can get themselves while experiencing this better than life experience will get them trapped in there forever. Some people believe that, and that's why they kill themselves. Of course, both drugs and better than life have a lot of physical and mental effects on your character's body because of repeated use. The drugs are more physical, the better than life are more mental, just because of the natures of them, but you still get results of it because of abuse of these. They mess with you, and they're so addictive. Then I moved on to the start of talking about security systems. The basics of the fact that security is everywhere. This is where we're going into next episode. In next episode, we're going to start with talking about the physical security systems you could encounter, and we're going to dive deeper into security. Because guess what? Because it is omnipresent, because it is one of the main hazards your players are going to face, we're going to want to talk about a few episodes to get enough information that you're ready to use security systems, or you as the player are ready to overcome them. But if you have any questions, comments, anything you want to say, anything you think I left out, please leave in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe at for the channel, the Empire, the work I do. If you want to show some extra support, you can always check out my Patreon, link in the description below. There are some great rewards there, and it helps to grow and improve the channel. But regardless, until the next time, I bid you farewell.